Now, yesterday we looked at a psalm, Psalm 61, that told us how Christ's representative came and sought God as a representative of the people. He made a vow to God, and God responded to that vow. Today we come to Psalm 62, in which the representative of Israel, we determined him to be Christ yesterday. The representative of Israel comes and continues in this prayer. First of all, Psalm 62, verses 1 and 2. This representative is waiting upon God in a time of trial. He says, "My soul waits in silence for God." That word silence is a key word there. It reminds us what kind of period of waiting it is. He waits in silence for God. From him only is my salvation. He only is the rock of my salvation, my stronghold. I shall not be greatly shaken. Here these words speak to us as this representative comes and says, this is a time in which I would and could, and many others actually are being shaken, but not me, because I have a refuge, and that refuge is God himself. Psalm 62, verses 1 and 2. Now remember, this is a representative of Israel speaking. It is the words which Israel will speak on another day. As we looked at already, I believe that these are the words of the Messiah who comes in the place of Israel in this foreshadowing and giving this prophetic word as he is praying on behalf of Israel these words to God. Well then, however, as we continue on, we see the suffering that goes on in the midst of this trial in verses 3 and 4, where the representative says, "How long will you assail a man that you may murder him, all of you? Like a leaning wall, like a tottering fence. They have counseled only to thrust him down from his high position. They delight in falsehood. They bless with their mouth, but inwardly they curse." Here is a word that I think has a twofold picture. In one sense, it is the picture of the representative himself. The representative who is in the days of his passion, the days of the crucifixion, the arrest, and the trial of Jesus Christ, as this representative comes and says, "How long will you assail a man?" The man is that man, Christ Jesus. "And that you may murder him, all of you, like a leaning wall and a tottering fence." This is exactly how the people of Israel viewed Jesus, and he was looking upon them in this prophetic word, speaking, as so many of the Psalms do, speaking the heart of Christ during the time of his trial. They've counseled to thrust him down from his high position. They delight in falsehood. They bless with their mouth, but inwardly they curse. This is a picture of those religious leaders in Jesus' day. But interestingly, these words become the picture of Israel itself during the days of tribulation. And here Israel cries out in its second sense of this twofold sense, saying, "How long will the man of sin come upon me? How long will the persecution be upon Israel?" And then we come into verses 5, 6, 7, and 8, as Israel turns to its only hope. Remember, the representative is speaking on behalf of Israel. I believe these words in 5 through 8 will one day be the words of Israel itself, when it says, "My soul, wait in silence for God only, for my hope is from him. He is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will not be shaken. O God, my salvation and my glory rest. The rock of my strength, my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us." You know, I believe that the redeemed Israel, the remnant of Israel, is going to pray that very prayer during the days of the tribulation, as they're going to realize that everything in the world is up against them. But they come and they call their people together and say, "Trust in him at all times. Pour out your heart before God. God is our refuge." These are the purposes of the tribulation anyway, to the days of Jacob's trouble, to bring Israel unto him. Then verses 9 through 12 are a word to the wise. This representative, I believe the Messiah, comes and gives a word to the wise, those even going in that day of tribulation, when it says, "Men of low degree are only vanity, and many of high rank are a lie. You see that word to the wise? He says, hey, don't try to trust in someone. You think you can just be poor and live off on a little corner of the world and nobody will bother you? No, he says that's vanity, that's emptiness, that's not going to lead anywhere. Men of high rank, you think you can come up and by your rank you can find help, and by men of rank you can find help? No, he says they're only a lie. In the balances, they go up. They are together, lighter than breath. You see, he says, whether it is that quiet little life of low rank or that powerful life of high rank, it's not going to balance the scales. Verse 10. Do not trust in oppression, and do not vainly hope in robbery. If riches increase, do not set your heart upon them. That is, hey, if you make a little money, you made some. That's all there is to it. Don't put any trust in them because it's going to be gone so quickly. But in verses 11 and 12, we see that there is no other confidence in this life other than God himself. Here's the word to the wise. Once God has spoken, twice I've heard this, that power belongs to God. And loving kindness is yours, O Lord, for you recompense a man according to his work. Speaking of the coming days of the kingdom, in which a man will be recompensed and judged according to his work. It'll be true for the Christian as well, that we are judged for our work, and so we come and we say, I'm not going to try to live this quiet little life as if that's all the answers. I'm not going to come and try to seek the men of high position as if they can provide all the answers for me. I'm not going to trust in my wealth. Some trust in chariots, some in horses. I will trust in the name of the Lord my God. He is my only hope. Psalm 62. The representative of Israel turns to God as his refuge. It's a prophecy. It's a foreshadow of that which Israel itself is one day going to do. As you read Psalm 62, you are reading the future of Israel. May God bless you as you study his word. I'm Dr. Randy White.